Can we first start with what happened yesterday morning in King's Cross with that incident with two teenagers shot? A video has been released which essentially shows those teenagers being apprehended. They've just been shot, they're bleeding on the footpath. Police jump on them. How would you describe the police actions?
Well, look, it's very early days, Andrew, and we are going to have to wait. At the same time, I think there are a lot of unanswered questions, and from what I've seen on the television clips, it's not a very good look.
Also, obviously, racially explosive because these two teenagers are of Aboriginal descent.
Look, potentially that is a problem, but I think we do need to wait and make sure that all the questions are answered.
So you're saying, obviously, difficult to comment, but it doesn't look good. There are some scenes there in the video where it looks as though the police are, well, I shouldn't say actually beating up, but some people have alleged that that's what they are doing to those two teenagers.
Well, what we've seen so far are short clips. What we need to understand before we can really comment is the entire scenario that occurred. What occurred in the 10 to 15 minutes from the time the police first went to approach the car until the arrests were made, until after the shooting occurred. What we're seeing at the moment are very short clips of a few seconds, and that can be misleading. But we do need transparency in this investigation, and we do need all questions answered.
Okay, let's look at the broader issue of gun crime, particularly in Sydney. There was another killing overnight. Virtually every night there are reports of shootings in the city, and police are blaming this on a turf war between bikie gangs, essentially the Hells Angels and the Nomads. Clearly, these people are not cooperating with police, and the victims are not cooperating with police.
I think what we have with the shooting are two quite different problems here, if I can broadly speak. One is a turf war between at least two bikie gangs, but I suspect that if you look at all of the shootings, there are a few other gangs involved as well. And that's one problem, the turf war between bikies. They make up the smaller number of shootings though. Above that, or beside it, whichever way you want to look at it, we have a larger number of shootings that appear to be committed by a significant number of different individuals unrelated to one another or small gangs, and they also seem to be over turf wars, personal wars, family feuds. So there are two quite different problems. The bikie war though, or the potential bikie war, is the biggest threat to the community.
This could possibly escalate into all-out war, couldn't it, where innocent bystanders, if they haven't already, are going to be involved?
Now, look, absolutely, and that's the threat and the risk that we're running at the moment. The shootings are, if the current trend continues, we're going to have probably double the number of shootings that occurred last year. Now, that's a serious problem. The other problem is that people follow trends. You have a series of drive-bys, you have a series of kneecappings, and it continues to escalate. Once one escalates, the other escalates. That's the risk we're running.
Where are these weapons coming from, particularly the guns? We hear they're Glocks that are involved. The government is saying they're going to crack down at the ports, that customs are involved. We heard the incident of Australia Post where some guns were brought into the country that way. You, though, are saying that is not particularly the problem.
No, look, there have been a number of studies a few years ago now, and police do follow up the source of weapons when they seize a weapon. But what's been found is that most of the weapons used in these shootings over the past decade have been diverted from legitimate sources. That is, they've been stolen during the course of home invasions, house breakings, armed robberies where armoured guards have had their weapons stolen, break-ins to other storages where there's been weapons, and the diversion from legal gun markets, licensed firearm dealers converting to illegal markets. That's where most of them have been coming from. At the same time, there does appear to be a trend where more weapons are being imported, and we certainly do need to crack down. But to blame one or the other is not right.
So a gun law is tough enough?
Look, I think the gun laws are tough enough. I think it's about enforcing the laws that we have and making sure the courts impose the penalties that have been set down.
What about more broadly on, obviously each state government has its issues as far as getting tough on crime. It's always a red hot button issue during election campaigns. Should there be harsher penalties, tougher bail laws, or are those particular measures not effective?
Well, they can be, and we need to continually review laws to make sure they're up to date with changing circumstances. But at the same time, being tough on crime does not only mean increasing penalties, making more offences, reducing people's human rights and so on. What it means also is the thorough and comprehensive investigation of those that are committing the crimes and making sure they are placed before the courts. Mostly, existing laws will cover that.
And you're also talking about non-custodial sentences for offenders that are sentenced to 6 months or less.
Absolutely. What we need to do is make sure that the right people are getting lengthy jail sentences. We don't want people committing minor crimes, clogging up the courts, and therefore the courts saying, well, instead of imposing a 10 or 15-year penalty on this person, we'll make it 5 or 6, because there are a lot of people in courts in the jails at the moment. What we need to do is make sure the right people are getting the lengthy sentences. Those people that we can rehabilitate or have got a chance of rehabilitating are given that opportunity.
Clive Small, thanks very much.
Thank you.